Today's NBA has more talent top to bottom than ever before, and it's becoming more and more prevalent where we see role players seamlessly fill in for their team stars and produce like one of the league's best players when the opportunities present themselves. The best players in the NBA are the ones that produce at the highest level, but the situation a player is in can also drastically factor into what one can realistically accomplish, and there are so many examples of guys who were being held back on one team and then broke out once they found a new home that was ready to feature them more prominently. That's exactly what we will be going over in today's video, as we will be discussing 4 current role players that I am confident would break out into stars in this league if they had their own teams to lead. Before we start though, it turns out a good amount of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but it also very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first role player we'll be discussing today that I believe has the talent to be a star if put in a position to lead his own team is Austin Reaves of the Los Angeles Lakers. The story of Austin Reaves and his rise in the NBA is an incredibly improbable one, as he started his journey as an undrafted player originally brought into the Lakers on a 2-way contract. He worked his way into the rotation almost immediately as a rookie, was a full-time starter on the team by year 3, and now in his role as third fiddle behind what was originally LeBron James and Anthony Davis, but is now LeBron and Luka Doncic, he's been one of the most consistently positive contributors, posting career highs in points, rebounds, and assists for them this season. Reaves has gotten better and better every single year. He's filled in at so many different spots, playing a ton of different roles over the years as well, basically doing whatever has been asked of him, and despite playing with Hall of Fame level talent, he's still been good enough to demand a large volume of shots and touches every night, proving he can compete with the best of the best. This season, as a third option, Reaves is averaging about 20 points, 6 assists, and 4.5 rebounds per game, which is already borderline star caliber as is. In the 9 games that LeBron James has missed this season though, Reaves has gotten to take the reins as the go-to guy of the team, and in those 9 games, he's averaging 27.9 points, 8.3 assists, and 6.6 rebounds per game, including a 45-point game against the Indiana Pacers. I know it's a small sample size, but it's also sure as hell not a fluke, and those are the kind of numbers that only the best guards in the league can put up. His confidence has grown every single year, and with his incredible ability to change speeds and manipulate defenders off the dribble, along with his reliable pull-up jumper and craftiness in the paint, Reaves is pushing the boundaries of stardom in a third option role already, so I'm incredibly confident that he could put up some insane numbers as a full-time number 1 option. The next role player we'll be discussing today that I believe could be a star on his own team is Payton Pritchard of the Boston Celtics. Payton Pritchard is a natural-born scorer of the basketball who has had to wait patiently and work his ass off behind the scenes to earn a real opportunity in the rotation of a team that year in and year out competes for titles. It hasn't been an easy ride for him, with minutes coming sparingly early on, but last year he started to work his way onto the court more regularly, and now this season he has become the Celtics' secret weapon. Off the bench this year, he's on track to win the 6th Man of the Year award, putting up 14 points per game, shooting about 8 threes per game, making them at a 41% clip. He's one of the most efficient high-volume three-point shooters in the league right now, who can get hot fast and demolish the confidence of the opposition, and he's doing all of this playing behind an incredibly stacked starting lineup where he is the furthest thing from being a priority in terms of touches and shots. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are established stars who lead the way in shot attempts. Kristaps Porzingis is a veteran sharpshooting big man and former all-star who plays a big role in what they do when he's healthy. Derek White serves as a jack-of-all-trades glue guy, doing a bit of everything, and Drew Holiday is another former all-star veteran who can go off on any given night too. So the Celtics don't necessarily need Pritchard to go off every night to win games, it's just the cherry on top when he does. Pritchard has 21 games this year where he has put up 20 or more points, including a 43-point game game against the Trailblazers, and anytime the Celtics are down a man or two, or if they just want to rest some of their stars, Pritchard fills in and shines as an elite shooter and shot creator with a tight handle and a quick release on his pull-up jumper, and if he found himself in a situation where he could be featured more prominently, I'm sure that he could easily average over 20 points per game. The next role player that I believe could be a star in a more prominent role is Quentin Grimes of the Philadelphia 76ers. The 76ers season has been going down in flames, so they've opted to fully embrace a little tank to end the season in hopes of retaining their top 6 protected first-round pick in the draft. So while most people have tuned out of what they have been up to as of late, many are likely missing the massive emergence of Quentin Grimes in this stretch. This is now Grimes' 4th season in the league, and during his first 3 seasons, he was pretty much primarily used as a 3-and-D wing in the rotation without much freedom to create. He started the season on the Mavericks this year, coming off of the bench, scoring about 10 points per game for them, while shooting 40% from 3, playing very well in that role. But the Mavericks decided they wanted to make a few questionable trades at this year's trade deadline, and while the Luka Doncic trade gets all of the flack for good reason, trading away Quentin Grimes was also a pretty poor decision for them in hindsight. Now in Philadelphia, he's getting the chance to play freely with a green light for the first time in his career, and he has been one of the most productive players in the entire NBA over the last month as a result of it. Since the start of March, which is a 16-game sample size, Grimes is averaging about 26 points and 5 assists per game, while still maintaining his elite efficiency, making 50% of his shots and 39% of his threes. He's scored over 20 points in 12 of his last 14 games. He scored 46 points against the current 2-seed Houston Rockets, who have a top 5 ranked defense. He dropped 44 points against the surging Golden State Warriors, and while it's easy to lazily write this off as empty production, he's still doing it against teams that have a lot to play for. Grimes is a restricted free agent this summer, so he's going to attract some big money offers. So while the 76ers do have the ability to match any offer he gets, we could still see a team bring him in and hand him that bigger role that we're talking about here. And finally, the last role player that I believe would break out as a star on their own team if given the chance is Aaron Wiggins of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Wiggins is a fantastic story of how important player development is and why patience is crucial. The first 3 seasons of his career saw his role fluctuate a ton game to game, as he was never really a consistent mainstay in the rotation, but he consistently flashed potential to be an effective volume scorer. Effort in other aspects of the game has held him back previously, but even when he was playing just 15 minutes per game, scoring 6 points on average, he was still incredibly efficient, and the tape showed a creative shot maker with a nifty ability to get to his spots and convert. Like Payton Pritchard, it's difficult to get to show off your full bag on a nightly basis when you're on a stacked team that happens to be sitting in first place gearing up for a title charge. The Thunder already have the leading scorer of the whole league in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who also happens to be the MVP favorite right now, so he is reasonably going to have the ball in his hands the most. Then Jalen Williams is a premier number 2 option, Chet Holmgren's skill at his size has made him a phenomenal 3rd option, and when everyone else needs to fill in and play a more minimal role, that's just the reality of the situation for him. Wiggins comes in off the bench though and gives them a spark on offense, and despite playing alongside so much talent, has still found ways to shine this season, with a few explosive nights when some of the bigger names have been out, and that gave us just a taste of what he could do if he was playing over 30 minutes a night. He's lethal as a pick and roll ball handler, he can finish well with both hands around the basket, and he's a 3-level scorer that forces defenses to stay on their toes. Against the Kings a few months ago, for example, Wiggins put up 41 points when Jalen Williams was out for the night, helping the Thunder blow the Kings out in that game despite being shorthanded, so his big games don't even feel empty. He's scoring just 11.6 points per game this year, which is par for the course for a 6th man in the situation that he's in, but he has a plethora of 20+ and 30+ point games this season, and with a little bit more freedom, those kind of nights would be the norm. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think of these players and their potential futures as stars. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.